are tuning in live, that was Dead Prez. But if you are listening to the recording, you got to get that Dead Prez on your own, set the vibe, and then join us back here for this awesome walk and talk together.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Listen,
it is good.
I'm saying we promote music. Why they ain't gonna let us use it? That's all I'm saying.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. You walking, Morgan? You at the airport? You at the airport walking?
I just got off the plane. I told Siobhan, if you guys don't know Siobhan is my number one stunner. She be helping me coordinate everything. I was like, Siobhan, if the plane lands at 11:36, I can make it outside before Bootcamp. She was like, okay. So I just have a backpack, travel light. Listen, travel light, y'all, in life. I just got a backpack on.
Light.
And I'm outside. But anyway, I was at Howard when that song came out. And, you know, shout out to Richard Lyon, who was my first Rasta love. And he was just like, you listen to that Dead Prez because, you know, you got to get into it. I was like, I'm pretty sure, listen. Shout out to all the Rastas that we love.
Ooh, I'm walking and they're cutting the trees. It's loud, y'all. If you didn't know, this is a walking podcast. Morgan is walking at the airport in Savannah, Georgia. I'm walking in Washington, D.C. We are walking because we are walking for our lives, and we are walking with thousands of women who have tuned in and are walking with us. That includes our national staff. I thought about them yesterday on day one and didn't mention them and just wanted to uplift the national team that puts down and pushes away from the computer so they can also get out and walk with us. This is your girl, Vanessa. And that's Morgan. Yes.
They got rocking chairs at this airport and at Charlotte and at Cracker Barrel. And I'm just saying, this is an actual marketing ploy because I just want to sit down and rock in it for a little bit. I'm going to just sit right here.
Go ahead.
Everybody go ahead. I got to rest. I'm out of shape, y'all. I need these 21 days. I'm out of shape. I'm going to try to get in 2 miles at the airport. I'm going to just walk back and forth past the taxis. Ignorant. What we talking about today, Vanessa? Vanessa's doing today too because she's about it.
Well, first of all, what we are talking about is, Morgan, you're a historian and I feel like you know everything. And I don't know if you have some friends.
No, get your friend who calls you a historian. And call me a filmmaker and a photojournalist too.
Do you know what happened today in history?
Wait, did you just laugh at my dream?
No, I didn't laugh.
I stopped rocking in the chair. I said, call me a photojournalist and a filmmaker too. Which one we call you?
Oh, shoot. Call me an activist, creator, and woman of leisure.
I would call you an activist, a creative, and a woman of leisure. Oh, also call me a philanthropist. I'm about to be a philanthropist.
Yes, me too.
Around the whole world. Yeah.
Shoot, I'm already a cash out philanthropist right now. So.
Okay, I'm sorry. You about to tell the real Black history. Let's go. People tune in around the world for Black history facts. Let's go. What's the Black history fact?
Oh, but what happened today in history?
I don't know, Vanessa. I'm tired. I just got off the plane. I don't even know what day it is.
GirlTREK Nation, we need to stand up in reverence wherever you are right now. Today is a sacred day because on this day, June 2nd, in 1863, our girl Harriet Tubman guided the army on the raid on the Combahee River. Today is the energy that holds the Combahee River.
I will tell you why I know that. I ain't even faking. Because the national park called me 2 weeks ago, and they were like, hi, is this Morgan? Because that's how the national park sound. It was a ranger. He was like, is this Morgan Dixon? I was like, yes, this is Morgan. He was like, hi, this is somebody from the National Park Service. And I was like, great. And he was like, I see that GirlTREK is planning a walk on the Combahee River in honor of Harriet Tubman on Friday, whatever today is. And he was like, I just want to check in and make sure you know. And I said, I do not know, sir, and I do not need to know, sir. They got it. I was like, I don't know. It's a local organizer. They got to stop calling me.
Well, shout out to the local organizers who are out there walking on the Combahee River to make sure that Harriet Tubman is honored. And yes, we are walking on this Friday, this sacred day. It's also Friday, which means that we will be taking a break for the weekend. And it's a perfect time for you to catch up on, if you missed yesterday, a bunch of people missed yesterday, but then we have the recording up already. Invite a friend to join you, and we're going to have day 3 live on Monday.
God is convicting my heart, Vanessa. I got into a fight with a lady at the airport in Atlanta. I had to go back and apologize. I was like, ma'am, you were indeed rude to me. She goes, I know, I was real sad when you walked away. Because they say you need to walk away from dinner tables that don't be serving you. And she was so rude, Vanessa.
Ooh,
and I was like, never mind, I don't want this stuff. I don't want this stuff. And I just left. And then I got convicted. And I went back. I was like, listen, I don't want to cause no suffering in nobody's life ever. And I'm really sorry. I should not have walked away like that. It looked like he was having a bad day. Because listen, I've been having mental health first aid training. I'm trying to tell you, it looked like you've been having a bad day. And she was like, I was. And when you walked away, I was thinking, I really messed up. Like, yeah, you did. Because you were mean to me.
We are going to talk about Dr. Sebi today. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I want to add a disclaimer that we are not endorsing any of Dr. Sebi's products or philosophies or products or diets, but we are discussing his philosophies and his ideas today. And it's a good disclaimer because I'm like, regardless of what somebody tell you about anything, y'all, you better take your health into your own hands and be doing the research that matters to you so that you yourself can be customizing solutions. There's no one size fits all. And one thing that works for another person may not work. Yeah. It's no one size fits all.
Because I think a lot of people think that when things are organic or natural, Vanessa, that somehow they could just take a lot of it. And like, whether it's, I got a homegirl who just called me and she was like, you told me to stop doing that CBD cannabis. I was like, yeah, you're doing it too much. Like, what is that? That's too much. Whatever you're doing is too much. And then her doctor had told her that she actually had an allergy to the the hemp. Yeah, she had a hemp allergy. And I was like, see, you don't even know. And that's, do what you need to do and be holistic and wonderful. But things like this stuff is powerful. Stuff like turmeric, stuff like charcoal, stuff. Yeah. Even stuff like that. When I was telling you about what is the tea I was telling you about? The soursop. Like all of this stuff, these are powerful herbs that are medicinal for generations in ancient times. Black seed, all this stuff is powerful. And I do believe it can heal. I do believe it can reduce inflammation, which is the cause of cancer in many cases. I do believe in all this stuff, but moderation, y'all. Like, and get a doctor on it. It's just like you can't be taking your blood pressure medicine and black seed and turmeric. You can't do it. You can't do it, y'all. You can't do it. It's something interactive. So consult a doctor. Doctor. Vanessa's right.
Consult a doctor. Some of you may have seen on social media that I'm overcoming some thyroid issues, and I was like, I gotta consult a doctor, a Reiki healer. I gotta read the book. I gotta go on YouTube. I got to go over here to this person, and it's like a lot of information, but it's layered. It's layered, and you learn something new every day, and knowledge is power. And it's like, you don't have to feel overwhelmed with trying to implement all changes at all at once, by the way, but just like understanding what direction you want to move in with your health, having a vision and holding a vision for your body being disease-free and movement fluid and strong and healthy. Like, you have to have those things and an idea and a pathway of how you're going to get there, which is why I'm loving this boot camp already, even on day 2, because this is just practical information. And Morgan, the practical information. Yes.
Well, number one, we don't have to go at Red Bull speed. We just don't. I just want to take a pause and just say, Vanessa, we don't. Number 2, you just said hold a vision for your healthiest body and your healthiest self, and then find a pathway to that vision. That was powerful. That's a whole message right there. You can hang up the phone. Second, you just glossed over your whole testimony on thyroid disease, and maybe you ain't ready to tell that testimony. I'm a whole space that you ain't ready to tell that testimony, but you can't just be glossing over.
No, the truth is though, it's funny because I'm going back and forth, but I told it. That's all there is to say. Like sometimes you don't gotta ruminate or even speculate, but you gotta know. So I don't know if there's more to say, but if so, I will come back to it. But I will talk about my healing journey and like what symptoms I'm experiencing. And like I did put on there like I'm taking medications and stuff. But I also just like I did put out there that I have hyperthyroidism. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to tell your story. I'm not putting you on the spot there. I'm also saying that Vanessa, it's a big deal. It's not
Yeah.
2 seconds. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So
Yeah.
I just you did say it on Instagram, and it's a big deal. That's all. So if you, however you want to focus your energy, I support as your friend. I do. And you don't have to tell the whole million download Webby audience. You don't. But
I don't mind telling people. Yeah, I just meant they can just go look. That's kind of what I meant. But then I only meant that just because. Also, I'm just like, what energy do I introduce into the space? But and we are having an important conversation today about the conversation is so much. I don't want to say it's deeper than Dr. Sebi because Dr. Sebi represents so much that. It's not by accident. Each episode has a playlist. If you guys get the emails, and you can get the emails at blackhistorybootcamp.com. And it's not an accident that, I mean, there's a half dozen songs, hip hop songs out in the last 3 years that mention Dr. Sebi, that are named Dr. Sebi, as Kendrick, Nipsey, everybody is out there. He has amassed a following of like real people who believe that he was a prophet before his time, preaching a lifestyle that was being intentionally hidden from us because there's people who are invested in keeping us unwell. And so the conversation is like about Dr. Sebi, but it's also just about us like understanding that it's so many things out there that, Morgan, first of all, there's a book called Propaganda. The book Propaganda is about the history of marketing. And it talks about how in 1926, with the advent of television, all of these brands had all of these products that now they wanted to start selling us. And specifically, the food industry was like, people ain't eating enough. Because at the time, people weren't eating 3 meals a day. 1, for economic issues. 2, because a lot of cultural practices don't call for no 3 old big meals a day. All sorts of things. Then the Industrial Revolution happened and people were away from home longer. They needed to carry lunches. Things started to change. But really, it was a man, Morgan, who invented bacon and eggs. A man who just was like, we got to market something that hooks people on the idea that they need a bunch of big, heavy food in the morning time. And so there was a big marketing push, right, around how breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And there's all these scientists who are like, it's important to nourish your body in the morning. You don't have to eat bacon and eggs and all these heavy foods. And in fact, there was an entire decade in the country where basically heartburn was like an epidemic. I think it's still an epidemic now, but it was like an entire time where everybody had heartburn. And in response to everybody having heartburn, Morgan, this man who had something called a Healthy Living Lodge, and he was also an abolitionist, created granola as a cereal that you could start eating in the morning. One of the visitors to this man's holistic lodging was Dr. Kellogg. Kellogg then invented Kellogg cereal, and people started moving away from the big, heavy breakfasts. And do you know that the lobbying industry came back hard with the idea that, no, we got to eat bacon and eggs and all of these heavy foods for breakfast? And I'm just sharing that one story at the beginning here, just so that we can level set that Dr. Sebi wasn't a medical doctor and didn't have any real medical degrees, although he called himself doctor for his name. He was sued by the state of New York and even took his case to the U.S. Supreme Court. And he wasn't just sued, but they set him up, sent undercover patients to his office, tracked him for months and years, and then built a case saying that he was, of course, prescribing stuff that he shouldn't be prescribing. He won his case, actually, Morgan, because over 77, there were 77 people in the courtroom who were like, no, he's really helping me. But 2, the judge was like, he actually didn't diagnose people with anything. People just told him what was going on, and he made suggestions around stuff. He wasn't giving diagnoses. So Dr. Sebi got off, but he was maligned in a lot of spaces for being a quack, and specifically for being a quack because at the start of the HIV/AIDS epidemic, he claimed that he had a way that he was curing AIDS. So that is just to understand that I understand what the controversy is about Dr. Sebi, who was born in Honduras, whose his father was Haitian. He said he was an African Morgan living in Honduras, not an Afro-Honduran. And the medical community also mad because he often referred to us as having African genes that he thought were more magnetic and electrifying. And people were like, there's no such thing as African genes. But he strongly believed in an African diet. And do you know when I was Googling African diet, there's hardly anything that comes up? Even though when you Google like Mediterranean diet or all these things, there's all these other prescriptive things that are celebrated.
No, I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do.
And
yeah.
And so
I was just talking about this to the people yesterday because y'all, first of all, if you've been listening to Bootcamp for a while, I met a celebrity yesterday, a Bootcamp celebrity. She wasn't really a Bootcamp, but she's proximate. Okay, y'all remember Georgia Gilmore? If you haven't, it's one of the best episodes we ever did on Bootcamp. Georgia Gilmore was a woman who basically was the philanthropist of the civil rights movement in Montgomery, and she did it through cooking food. And she underwrote the cost of drivers and gas money and everything so that we could boycott the buses in Montgomery. She was just this big, beautiful character of a woman. And last night, this woman named Miss Martha got up on the mic at this dinner I was at this very historic building. It was amazing. She got up on the mic and she was just dropping them gems, y'all. She was like, listen, get your mind right. She was like, because I was at the brink of suicide, y'all, and I came back and I held my vision, y'all, for my restaurant. I mean, she was just dropping it. I was like, I love this lady so much, Miss Martha. So after, I was all timid, and I went over to her, and I was like, Miss Martha, hi. My name's Morgan. And I was like, I have a question for you. Did you know Georgia Gilmore? And she said, Miss Georgia is the reason I'm cooking. And I said, oh, my God, hold it. Let me record it. I was like, say it to 1 million Black women. I said, we love her. And so she started telling her story. I got it. The video ain't that good, but I might put it on Instagram. But she started telling her story, y'all. And then I told her about my man, and then she done gave me all the wisdom. She said, girl, you got to put some sugar on it. Stop acting like you don't want that man because you know you want that. She was like, you got to put some sugar on it. She was the most delightful person. But my point is this. When I was at the airport this morning, I was with 4 or 5 allies who are not Black people, and they're all women. And they were talking about, ooh, that pecan pie was so delicious. And do you know she didn't use flour? That's what they said. They were like, you know, she didn't use flour in it. And I was like, it's just clearing my throat. And I was like, yeah, most African diets are gluten-free. I was like, we don't eat all that refined flour. We don't eat anything like white and powdery and all that added sugar. We don't eat that. I lived, most of you know who listen to Bootcamp, I lived in Ghana for 5 years. We ate yams, we ate beans, we ate greens, we ate fresh fruit and vegetables every day that came out of the Bree Mountains and came to the corner person who's selling your stuff. We drank coconut water, all alkaline stuff. And we were like, I was glowing when I was there. I recently came back to South Carolina, and I think I still got that same diet, but it got all kind of additives and stuff up. My stomach be hurting. I'm just like, these bananas ain't the same bananas. So I'm trying to live it in an industrial. I'm trying to live healthy in a society that was developed for me to be an overconsumer of industrial factory GMO food. Yeah, I am trying to practice good values in an African diet, an African-centered diet that does not add sugar or flour or dairy, because those are not the things that Africans eat. And by the way, no Africans I knew in Ghana ate breakfast. Yeah, we broke fast at like noon. Breakfast is just breaking fast from the night. We broke fast at like noon. And then we drank a lot of water and a lot of coconut water and got a lot of vitamin D. And so I'm saying there is an African diet. A whole continent of people know it. It's beans and yams and kinke and all these cassava and all of these beautiful, rich, fibrous and colorful foods. So yes, is the answer. And soul food is a derivative of that. Pure soul food. If you don't add all that sugar to your yams, if you don't add all the like butter and fat to all your beans, but pure food, soul food that your grandmother would recognize is a derivative of the African diet. So yes, I know that there's not a lot of information on it, but I know that there's a continent of information on it. It just ain't Googleable.
It just ain't Googleable. That's so right. Then actually what I want to do is ask the women who are on the line walking with us. I was like, I wonder if we are walking with women who themselves just have testimonies around how did you change your diet and something improved in your health? Are you seeing a naturopath? Are you using something, a herbal remedy? Are you doing something that's dramatically different from a lifestyle perspective that you are having results with and want to share with us? I would love to know. And so if you are walking with us after we hear the Dr. Sebi clip, you can do it right now. Hit *9. *9 raises your hand, and then Tyrene's going to try to bring in a caller or two just so that we can have a conversation about our health and what we are actually doing. You said alkaline diet before we bring up that clip, Morgan, and that's actually one of the big controversies that the medical community has right now in terms of people who believe even in the concept of alkaline diet, because Dr. Sebi believed that you needed to balance the pH system of your blood and that you did that through like herbs and natural vegetables. But then there's a lot of science that says, well, you can't
there ain't
change
no
the pH.
controversy. No, there ain't no controversy with Smart Water making $1 billion on it. That's
exactly.
what I'm saying. Like
or sea moss, which Dr.
controversy.
Sebi 40 years ago was telling everybody that there were huge benefits of sea moss, and now we see that the whole industry of sea moss now is an industry that actually is primarily getting taken over and co-opted by non-people of color.
Yeah, but even that's a good example. Like kelp and all those things are really, really high in iodine, and somebody who has thyroid disease, Vanessa, has to be very careful.
Yeah.
So your early kind of, I think, disclaimer here is learn your body, get your numbers, get checked, and then consult professionals and know who you deem as a professional. Because I think Hafiza is a professional, my friend.
Yes,
and I've been following her, and her receipts is her life and her healthy looking old family glowing all the time. So I'm just saying, I'll share her on Instagram if people want some of my friend's profession. Then, I mean, and other people call in, tell us who we should be following on Instagram. Tell us what juice companies, Black-owned juice companies, solutions is what we're looking for, things and testimonies that have worked for you. *9 to raise your hand. Be careful, y'all. There are all these cottage industries that are putting stuff on water bottles that say, you know, this is how, and we don't know the long-term effects of drinking water that is infused with alkalinity and all these sorts of things. We just don't know. The crux of what he's talking about is eating a plant-based diet. And what we do know, and what science is united around, is that a plant-based diet extends your life expectancy by up to 10 years and improves the quality of your life, where you are less likely to get disease, less likely to suffer from inflammation and chronic kind of immunity diseases when you eat a plant-based diet. And plants create more alkaline than they do acid in your body. Some plants, it depends on the kind of plant. Like acidic plants create more acid. So the crux of what he's saying is to lean toward things that are alive, eating food that is alive, plant-based diet to get the nutrients that you need. Consult a nutritionist, consider a plant-based diet, educate yourself with classic films like Forks Over Knives. And there is united science now. This was a long time ago when he was saying some of this stuff. There's so much science. People are afraid of race-based science because eugenics was so racist against Black people and used so cruelly against us. But there is race-based science on nutrition. And one of those things is that Black people have higher rates of lactose intolerance, and that the actual American
80%.
food pyramid,
80% of Black people, they think,
the actual American food pyramid is actually racist policy. Because if you tell 100% of Black children that they should drink milk, and 80% of Black children are lactose intolerant, that is irresponsible policymaking. And so there is lots of truth in what this is. Similar to what I was telling our team, that vitamin D deficiency is really a problem in Black communities because we have melanin, and because our hair is the texture that it is naturally, we are evolved to block damaging sun rays. But we need vitamin D, which means we need high rates of exposure to the sun being outside. And when we have deficiency in vitamin D, it leads to everything from diabetes, heart disease, sleep apnea, depression, all seasonal affective depression, all sorts of really chronic diseases. And we live now in latitudes that our bodies were not evolved to live in because of the transcontinental slave trade, just for the last 400 years. For thousands of years before that, our bodies thrived around the equator. And so we don't, listen, the 1 out of 1,000 Black people who get skin cancer, it is true, and it is a real thing. So do not get burned in the sun, but also understand what your body needs and craves, and don't believe the marketing companies that are trying to sell you stuff. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that.
And only 12% of Americans are getting enough vegetables. Only 10% of Americans are getting enough fruit. But the crazy part is, when surveyed, 90% of people think they are. 90% of people think that they are putting what they need to into each of their meals, and most are not. And then something else I learned from this study, which it's just like, we have to understand how our country works and how decisions are made. So one other thing that you were talking about that I think is important for people to understand, which is that it's the U.S. Department of Agriculture that makes the guidelines, dietary guidelines, in partnership with Health and Human Services. Tyrese had everybody's hands raised. Everybody out there walking,
anybody. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to listen. Open up the lines. Shout out to Debbie.
No, Morgan, what you say?
Here go my best piece of advice.
Right?
Here go my best piece of advice, and then I'm going to shut up. Look at your friend who look healthy. Don't look at your friend who talking healthy and look ashy. Look at your friend who look healthy, whose skin shining, whose eyes is vibrant, whose hair look all juicy and stuff, and ask them what they eating. That's what I'm saying. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
What you eat is what you become. If you bloated, eat something else. You're not supposed to be bloated. You're not supposed to be tired after
or have heart digestion. Yeah, or be tired or have to take
chronic disease. No, itis is a chronic disease.
You gotta make a change.
You gotta make a change. You're not supposed to get the itis, Black people. That is the biggest conspiracy, more than any other of the conspiracies. Stop spreading that to our kids. Food is supposed to energize you, not make you go to sleep. You getting poisoned. Mm-hmm. Sorry, this ain't even my episode. I'm in the airport.
I like it. We got somebody on the line. Tell us your name. Tell us what city you're calling from.
This is Galactic Gale from Philadelphia. Am I on?
Yes, you are. Hi, Galactic Gale.
Okay. Hello, I'm the walking vegan. I became vegan about 15, 20 years ago when a church did the Daniel fast, and I didn't go back. At that time, because you asked about healing as a result of changing diets, I had something going on in my female area that doctor after doctor could not figure out. At the end of the Daniel fast, that was gone. And I believe it was sugar related. And when I stopped all of that, that issue went away. I recently got a diagnosis for something, and I am not accepting, at least not at this point, without research on my own, the medication they want me to take for 5 years. After 5 years, you have to stop taking it. That was a red flag for me. So why do you have to stop at 5 years? So I truly believe that we can heal some of the things, not all, but some of the things going on in our bodies with food.
Yeah.
Y'all, I ain't even gonna tell, a member of our staff has a testimony just like that, Gail. She went to the doctor for high cholesterol. The doctor tried to put her on one of these, whatever, Exitors, and she was like, nope, let me just do a little more research. She got a patch to test her gut biomes and her blood levels, and she wore it for all these fancy technology companies now. She wore it for 2 months. They realized she was eating too much avocado in the morning. It was just her fatty acids were off. I'm telling you, y'all, open up that Gail, and you know what? You don't have to tell us. You can tell us your middle name, and you can say from your mama's hometown, so you can say the real stuff, all this stuff. I appreciate you guys sharing your testimonies.
Thank you so much, Gail.
Thank you, Gail.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. I want to say one thing while we're bringing the other caller on, because this is just us off of an abundance of caution continuing to underscore. I was like Gil when I read all about needing to take the thyroid medicine. I was just like, I don't want to take no medicine for forever, for sure. I got to figure out all these things. I have all these plans of things I want to do. And I went to the doctor and he said, you are a ticking time bomb, ma'am. So do you understand taking this medicine or not? And I was like, I do, because I also grew up in a household surrounded by strokes and heart attacks. And I understand what it looks like when you're not compliant.
Yes.
And so this is
Yes.
where I am telling you, don't be living in an acute state of anything. Don't be living in a chronic state of anything, talking about you going to research this, and that. No. You first have to get, you first have to get to safety. First, you got to get to safety, and then you got to get better, and then you can navigate and figure out a plan for a long-term solution, sisters. Too many Black women are in an acute state, and then all of a sudden we are in a state where we can't turn back the time. We don't want to be in that situation. So I just want to emphasize that.
Somebody told me the other day I was a pill popper because I was taking vitamin D. And I was like, no, I live in New Jersey or wherever. I need vitamin D supplements. So sometimes there's an aversion to actual clinical medication. Like, we have to be wise, y'all. If you have heart disease and need heart disease medicine to stay alive, to reverse the 40, 50 years you've been on the planet eating KFC, you need heart medicine. Like, listen to a professional. I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be this or that. It has to work for you. And the evidence of your health is, how do you feel today? How is your mind? How is your spirit? How is your energy reserve and energy level? How do your knees creak when you go up and down? They're not supposed to. Our ancestors, I see people in Ghana up in the mountains who be 80 years old. They look like they're 14. They still got washboard abs. See, aging doesn't mean deteriorating. It really doesn't, or maybe it does clinically, but I'm saying, like, you don't have to go out like that, y'all. All right, let's open up the line.
We got somebody. Tell us your name and where you're walking at.
Maybe that's me. This is Luminous Laura. All right, hey y'all. Okay, so I am working in Clovis, South Carolina, and as y'all have already been talking about the importance of just being aware of, what goes on in your body, you have to, well, let me just start from my experience. My experience, I started with just wanting to lose weight. And as I lost weight, my body was telling me through the pregnancy of my children that I couldn't eat certain meat anymore. And then after that, my body kept telling me, oh, you can't eat the seafood anymore. So my sister, Lisa, had stumbled upon Dr. Sebi, because there was one point that I was a school teacher, and during the winter break, I'm in the bed sick. So I lost the weight and I was in the bed still sick. So I was tired of being sick and tired. So I started looking up and researching. And when I found out that first, you have to trust and believe in yourself that your body can heal itself, because otherwise it's not going to work. And when you find what actually works for you, and that was for me, by not just being a vegan, but incorporating those plants and vegetables, having those herbs. And just like Morgan said, if you need the supplements, because I was on high blood pressure medicine at the time too, but I worked my way off of that. And as I learned to get rid of, those toxins that were in my body, and it's not just the food of what you eat, it's also what you tell yourself in your soul and in your mind. You have to get rid of the toxins, because we are more than just one body. We have that physical body, we have our emotional body, we have our mental body, and they are all interconnected. And from us not actually taking the time to just learn, and this is just an evolution that I've gone through, that you just learn that, yes, you do the food work, you do the mental work, you do the emotional work, and you release. You have to let go of those toxic foods. And Dr. Sebi, he definitely paved the way for me and people in my household, because we have the sea moss gel. We make it we make, you know, and we just learn. And from those who learn from him, we just continue to learn, because I got a list of people that I've learned from once I came across Dr. Sebi, like Food for Negus. She is in Brooklyn, New York. She now has her a store with a restaurant where she actually sells her food. There's Crush Foster, who's also in Brooklyn, New York. And he has, it's called Beyond Vegan. He has a website where you can actually order things off of there, from spices, if you don't know how to put the spices together, if you're not sure of the herbs, as cooking classes and all of that. There is a Chef Wizette who runs Alkaline Vegan Girls, and she also does retreats. She has a Facebook page. She accepts the guys too, but Alkaline Vegan Girls is her Facebook page that also works. There's Ty's Conscious Kitchen, who's also on YouTube and has his own website that follows Dr. Sebi's philosophy as far as us healing ourselves.
For people like me who I can't hear it and process it, will you commit, and every single person on the line, those 3 amazing recommendations, to put them on Instagram at GirlTREK under today's post? Let's fill the post up with practical recommendations of people we should follow, companies we should support, personal testimonies around our own personal health. That would be very, very helpful.
Yep,
that would be very helpful.
Do that. Yep.
Do we have time for like maybe 3? Oh,
we
sorry.
do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's bring, yep.
Sorry, sis, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm so sorry.
No, how do I unmute myself?
Just put your phone on mute, old school. Put your phone on mute, old school.
Okay. Sorry.
Listen, come on
Thank you
back.
for sharing those resources and your testimony. Love to your family. No, these are good. We have to bring in a few more voices. This is what it is. It's like a health cipher. Yes. Do we have somebody else out there?
Yeah, let's make it like a minute or 2 if we can, just so we can get as many voices as possible in the next 5 minutes.
Hey, good afternoon. I'll make it real quick. So I'm calling from the Jersey Shore.
Hey, Jersey Shore.
So my change in health was for Lent. I gave up coffee, so I kicked the crack habit of caffeine. And
ooh, Vanessa, she's talking to you. She's talking to you.
I switched to decaf. I can't handle. You can't.
Yes,
My bar. I switched. I like the ritual of coffee, but I wasn't addicted to the caffeine part. I just let that part go.
Yeah. I was addicted to the caffeine part as I realized when I came when Lent ended, and I tried to the day after Easter tried to take a cup of coffee, and my whole body shut down. So I realized that, it was the caffeine. And I was in Ghana for Christmas, and I echo the organic fruits, vegetables, the African meal choices there. My face was glowing, and my whole body felt great. I landed in Ghana with pains in my back. I got back on that plane with no pains. So it's something about that continent that does something to our bodies. But going back to the coffee, I gave it up.
Amen.
And I did this caffeine, but I see the change in my body. I also see the change in my skin, because I used to have I guess they called it adult acne, and haven't had that. They were saying, oh, you have high blood pressure. When stopping the coffee, drinking more water, exercise.
How did you get over those first few days? How did you get over the hump? Like, okay, you gave it up, but like somebody is like, I tried that, it didn't work. They threw us back.
Yes.
Like, what did you do?
Yes, but it's that compound effect. Small, consistent choices over time, you kick the habit. So I it was a routine for me to wake up in the morning, have my cup of coffee. Instead of wake up in the morning, I implemented with something else. I did prayer. I got some warm water, lemon and honey, and drunk that. Or I took a walk. If around lunchtime, when you start to kind of get a downward effect and you're feeling tired, I'll have another cup of coffee. Instead of that, I change it up and did something else. I had decaf tea. I replaced it with something. But you got to take small steps and be intentional and consistent about it. And if you continue to be consistent and focus on it, then you'll start to see each day it gets easier and easier. But you got to redirect your mind on something else. You can't say, oh, I need that coffee. I need that coffee to make me go. No, you got to be like, okay, I know that stronghold is my coffee, so I need to replace it with something else. You know, is it?
You said that stronghold. You said that Coach. I can't be saying. She said that stronghold. That caffeine
be delivered from that
stronghold.
stronghold. Be delivered.
Yes,
that's excellent advice.
I
when
think
you make a mistake,
has.
Sorry, I just add this? When you do make a mistake, I think another piece to add to that is to make a quick U-turn. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, if you make a mistake, don't just give in and just don't give in to the stronghold. Then just be like,
start over again.
I drank a Red Bull today, but I ain't gonna drink no sugar tomorrow. That's what you got to do, y'all.
Start over again. Start over again and say, you know what? I made a mistake. Hey, let me add more water to my diet today. And then begin again.
That's good. It doesn't taste as good.
Add some fruit. Add some frozen fruit. You know, add some frozen fruit. Spice it up. Put some lemon and mint in it. You know, dress it up. Make it taste good. But I thank you, ladies, for your time. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna go.
Thank you.
I'm on mute now.
Yeah, that was good. That was good advice.
It was.
I think we can take one more. That was good advice. One more. Let's go.
Plus, you find new things that you love. Like it's the concept of like letting go of the little so that you can make room for the lot, or just like letting abundance in, or like letting God show up and show out in your life in a way that is like you stuck on this one thing that you think you need, but who knows what's possible when we let those things go.
And you know, that's a concept that a lot of nutritionists use. I remember one of our coaches in Birmingham used to say this, is that like, you don't think about what you're taking off your plate, that you're losing the pork chops or the bacon. Think about what you're crowding onto your plate, and just try to crowd on as much color as you can, crowd on as much nutrients as you can. So don't think of it from a deficit, but from an asset. Like, what do I get to eat today? And start to look forward to the things that you get to eat. Mm-hmm.
I'm moving towards vegetarianism, but I'm giving myself till 50. It's going to be a slow rollout, y'all, of just like, learning how to cook some good stuff and all those things later. So,
I mean, Jesus said what? Jesus said what you waiting for. That's what you waiting for. But I got you. I appreciate the intention.
The intention is there. He might roll it to me faster,
I'm not a vegan, by the way. I eat seafood. Yeah, but I made a decision I'm only going to eat seafood that my man catches, because I don't be knowing what they be putting in that other little nasty stuff.
Yeah. Even for me, I've started to get all my meat from this farm in Virginia, because the hormones in our foods is one of the biggest real culprits of thyroid issues for anybody else who is out there.
It really is.
And the toxins that are coming from our household cleaners, all of those things are toxic, Morgan. And I just learned that the fastest way to your bloodstream is really your scalp. And I know we know all about the relaxers and stuff, but just imagine that it's like you wouldn't drink half this stuff, but we're just like pouring it all over our body. So I've been slowly doing an audit of like my cabinets and like what am I letting go of, and just you got to make the choices feel accessible to you.
But say that again, Vanessa, because that's important. Say it again, what you're saying. Pouring what on your scalp?
So pouring anything on your scalp, the toxins, that's the quickest way for anything to enter your body and get into your bloodstream. So like if you imagine like the stuff that we're using on our hair and on our scalps, and if it's not natural, we're just allowing the toxins into our bloodstream. And our soaps have so much dyes and perfumes and things that are changing people's hormonal levels. My doctor gave me a whole list of like stuff I'm supposed to be avoiding, but it's like the stuff that's mainly in all of our regular household stuff that we use, our dish soap, the laundry detergent.
Someone told me there's
toothpaste.
There's an ingredient in like whipped cream and all this stuff that is like banned in most other countries. Like all of these artificial creams and dairy products, like, all of these different things. I don't want to name brands, but like all the stuff that's artificial. There's a good book that I read a long time ago called Food Rules, and one of the rules was don't eat anything your grandmother wouldn't recognize as food. So all this stuff, all of these stuff in plastic that you squeeze in your mouth, all that kind of stuff. Like, don't eat anything that your grandmother wouldn't recognize as food. I would say the same thing with the stuff you put on your scalp and put on your hair. Like anything that has all of these, chemicals in it.
Y'all just need some shea butter, cocoa butter. Yeah, you just get you some shea butter.
No, like, they have those lip plumper things.
Plumpers,
yeah. I don't need a lip plumper. It's so gross. Like almost all of the lip gloss and stuff that I get, like at CVS and stuff, my lips be swole after I put them on, and I was like, I can't even use this stuff anymore. It's like so gross. Another caller. Is there another caller? We don't call her.
Yes. We're gonna take our last caller.
Hi, Vanessa, Morgan, and Girl Trackers. This is Catherine from Michigan, and I agree with everything that I've heard today. It's so informative, and I just wanted to share a little bit about what I was doing. I had went to my primary doctor last year, and I was having problems with my digestive system and bloating from eating all the meats and dairy and sweets and all of that. So she told me, she suggested she is vegan and she got so small and looks good. And so she said, if you don't like to cook a lot, you should do Mediterranean. So I say, I don't like to cook a lot. So I tried Mediterranean, but since that time, I have been trying more African and Jamaican food, and it helps me with my digestive system. I'm not heavy. I'm not bloated. I digest my food well, and I feel good. And also with, doing the different 21-day challenge and the mamathon and everything really helps, because when I go to the community center, I can get on the elliptical. I do 30 minutes. I'm a mile and a half, and then I get on the treadmill 30 minutes, a mile and a half. And I was tipping the scale last year at 200, but now 2 days ago, I got on the scale and it's 172. So in the mornings, I try a half of avocado, little tomato. Yes.
I did a little dance, y'all. Dance on your walk for her. Dance on your walk for her.
Come on,
yes. And I'm going to be 70 in August. I'm going to be 70 in August, so that's what I'm excited about.
With the divine numbers. Yes. Oh, that's a whole testimony. Somebody should just take that clip and just spread it all across GirlTREK. That was a whole beautiful, beautiful testimony. Thank you so much for sharing it. Vanessa, I have a question. I don't know what your closeout is. I have a question. What do you want to eat more of in these 21 days? And what is one thing you're going to stop eating for these 21 days?
So I gave up seafood as soon as I learned that it had a lot of iodine in there. And I'm just like, it was one thing that with my thyroid, I was just like, gotta give up seafood. And y'all, crab, shrimp, lobster, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. But I was like, it didn't feel like an option to me. So I've given up seafood. But what I'm looking forward to is, this is such a good question. I've been cooking a lot. I've been making a lot of good foods. What am I looking forward to? Actually, I put this in the self-care challenge. I want to try some new vegetables and things that I haven't made. And I have a recipe for this spinach and zucchini lasagna. And I'm going to try to make that this weekend.
That's so good. I'm going to, thanks for asking. I don't even be needed. I'm living in my whole happiness. But thank you for asking. I'm going to try to juice every day, because it's one of the things, like, even if you live in Africa, you can eat fufu every day and that's not healthy. But I drank juice every day, because there's a woman who just gave me like 40 green juices, and then I would try to drink them all in 4 days or 5 days and stuff, and just crowd them in. And I would freeze them and then take out 3 or 4 a day. And people, especially who have like autoimmune and that sort of thing, just really do need to flush our systems from all these toxins and like hit a reset. It's just a really important thing to do. And so now I'm living on a farm. There ain't no reason I shouldn't just go grab a handful of greens and put it in the juicer. And so I'm going to try to juice every day. I'm going to get some like clear bottles that I can just pour it into. And even if I have to freeze a couple so I don't have to do it every day, I'm going to try to drink juice every day. That's what I'm looking forward to. And then what I think I'm going to give up is added sugar. It's real hard because they put sugar in everything, y'all. Potato chips.
The average American has 20 teaspoons of sugar a day. That was one of the facts I read today. 20 teaspoons of sugar a day is what most of us are consuming based on the added sugar and stuff.
Listen, there's 20 teaspoons of sugar in lemonade. So I'm just saying, Black people have way more than that. But yes, I'm definitely not going to put any sugar. I don't eat flour. I'm not going to put any sugar in, like added sugar in anything. Maybe that's what I'll do. I won't add sugar to anything or eat anything like a sugary cereal or anything like that. I'm not going to be all stressed out reading ingredients and stuff, y'all. I'm just not. I'm trying to be real with y'all. But I'm not going to drink sugary drinks. I try not to drink any sodas. And just, I mean, juice itself has a lot of natural fructose in it, and I'm okay with that. So I'm going to just try to do added sugar this month. We got to start slow, y'all. We got to start slow. For just 21 days, I don't know about the whole month, but just 21 days, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to do juice. So ask yourself that if you have one thing that you are going to try and abstain from in these 21 days dietarily, and then one thing you're looking forward to crowding in, or something you want to try or crowd in for these 21 days, put it on Instagram. We're at GirlTREK. If you want to talk to me, I'm at Morgan Trex. Vanessa's at Vanessa Trex. And we look forward to hearing what you guys, and maybe you'll inspire somebody else with your ideas. So just put it in the comments. That would be helpful. Yes, this has been a good conversation.
It's been a great conversation. Thank you guys for walking with us. I want to say rest in peace to Dr. Sebi. He passed away in a Honduran jail in 2016. He had been brought up on some additional charges around fraud and what the work he was doing, and he was in jail awaiting trial when he passed away. Of course, there's a lot of people who feel like our revolutionaries go into prison and don't come out, and that's not true. Not true. So we just want to honor him by at least trying to incorporate some of his lessons into our lives to show that we're learners. So we will see you on Monday, y'all. Monday.
Hi, everybody.